Hey everybody, this is Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer, and welcome to the ET Whisperer YouTube channel. Hey everyone, I wanted to talk personally, very quickly, about something that was really huge the last couple days. It's been building up for the last couple years, the election of 2016 for the United States of America. This is something that the whole world is feeling, and it's something that each and every American has been truly invested in, at least all the ones I've ever talked with. We have people on both sides of the fence, people who supported Donald Trump, people who supported Hillary Clinton. Both people are either very upset or very happy right now, and there's a feeling of unease and a lack of solidarity that's going on right now. So I really wanted to address some things. First of all, this election has been talked about since June or July of 2014 from Treb. When talking about 2016, everything will change, Treb said that it was about the election. He said that one of the candidates would have talk about disclosure, which Hillary Clinton did, talk about UFO disclosure, talked about some of the things that she wanted to do on a couple different occasions. Also said that during this process, there would be an uncovering of the unjust acts of our government and how they have hidden so many things from us. Those things would start being seen in a new light. That's happened also with the uncovering of the emails and a lot of dirt that was dug up on Donald Trump also. So we have both candidates having things exposed to them about their past. A lot of people saw that Donald Trump refused to allow African Americans in his housing unit, which showed that he had some racism or some energy behind that discrimination, and also saw that Hillary Clinton had a lot of things that she hid. Also, a lot of energy was talked about the disclosure of things that were supposed to be positive and ended up being negative. And I think when Treb was talking about that, he was talking about the charity of the Clinton Foundation. They found out that there were bills being paid for their daughter to live for 10 years, and also a wedding paid for. And this was from money that was supposed to be for charity work, that was supposed to be given to people who needed it. It wasn't, anyone who's ever ran a 501c company knows that when it is tax exempt and a charity foundation, you can't pay your personal bills. You can pay salaries for people so that they can live, obviously the people who work, but that wasn't supposed to be spent there. And our cat's in on the conversation too, Chini Bodini. But this is deeply disturbing. We have a lot of different things on both sides that were really rough to swallow. Anyone who supported Hillary, anyone who supported Trump, both sides had a lot of disturbing energy in this. You also saw the debates where these two candidates who are supposed to be fighting for the place of the leader of the country and also a head figure in the world stadium, in the world platform, ripping each other apart with nasty energy, pulling out dirt and secrets on one another. And a lot of people are confused right now. Even if they were a Clinton supporter, even if they were a Trump supporter, the whole process hurt them. You know, a lot of people say Donald Trump's a racist, Hillary Clinton's a liar. So there's a lot of hatred out there for both of them right now. Now, I want to share from my own perspective a little bit about something that Aridif said in late 2015 and then again in mid 2016. He shared that in the election, and this was during the time where Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders were running for the nomination of the Democratic Party, and Donald Trump had already won the Republican Party. He said, now, I know this might frustrate or anger a lot of people. This is just what Aridif said, okay? He said that Hillary Clinton is a representation of an old energy. She was someone who has been in politics her whole life, who has been through the whole stream, family, connections, and her whole circle is involved with the old system energy. Her husband was president. She also held many prominent offices, which put her right in the middle of all the deal making, all the really dark stuff that does happen in the government. She had been a part of that for a long time. Now, Bernie Sanders also had been a part of the government, but at a much lower pace. What Aridif said about both Trump and Bernie Sanders is that those two entities and beings represented the people's voice. Bernie Sanders by no means was a large figurehead in the community of politics. He had been there for a while, he'd done a lot of work, but by no means he was one of those elite politicians. This is what made him different. He didn't have a lobbyist that he would work with for certain things. So he wasn't having interest groups pay him to represent their thoughts. He did, in Aridif's perception, he was doing a lot of that work from his own state of wanting to help, what he thought was best. And Donald Trump was also a representation of the people and what the people wanted. Donald Trump, it was obvious, and this election showed that it was obvious, that Donald Trump was an outsider of the dirty politician game. That's how a lot of people saw him. A lot of people said Donald Trump hasn't been in politics, so he's going to not have to worry about all that dark back stuff, and he seems very vociferous and angry, which is something no candidate before had ever done. So these two energies are the most opposite energies you could have in the world. Bernie Sanders, hugely conservative, or hugely liberal. Donald Trump, hugely conservative. Those two beings represented the people's desire for change, but from the two spectrums of the people who live in the country of the United States. Very, very liberal people and very conservative people. He didn't say that because Hillary Clinton represented the old paradigm that she couldn't do good things. He didn't say that because she represented the old energy that she couldn't break free of that energy. In fact, he said she was very capable of going outside of that for doing so. So Aridif doesn't have any political connections. He doesn't have any care about Democrats or Republicans. He sees it all as these people being manifestations of ourselves projected out into that reality. So for him, he sees one being who talked about disclosure, talked about freeing information of UFOs and contact with humans, but still tied to the old system, and then two other beings that the people represented that they wanted to speak for them. He also said that it represented a huge shift in how humans manifest from this point forward, meaning that even Donald Trump being in office, even if he's the worst president in the history of our presidents, America now can see, the world can now see, that their voice will matter, that their opinions and energy will matter. This is the first election that I'm aware of that was not 100% controlled from the inside. We saw that there was a lot of attempted control from the inside, and this is what I think Aridif meant by Hillary being a part of the old paradigm. When her and Bernie went against each other, there were a few states that voted for Bernie Sanders, but because the super delegates were people who had been in political connections with Hillary Clinton for their whole lives, Hillary Clinton got those superdelegate electorals. Because she got all of those superdelegate votes, that put her so far ahead of Bernie, he couldn't have won. This means that her connections and ties and relationships that she's had going all the way through politics from a young age up had paid off for her. Trump and Bernie, although you can hate both of them or love both of them or like one or the other, they both earned their way through in the eyes of the collective consciousness. Now, we don't know if that's true. I'm not saying that there wasn't any voter fraud, anything like that. I'm really not invested in any of those people. I liked Bernie for a while, personally. If I'm telling the truth, I liked Bernie Sanders, and once he was out of the race, I quit caring. So for me, I know that politics will happen with or without me, and that the collective consciousness, my intent was enough. And I guess that's the bigger point of this whole video. We see what Aridif and Treb have said about this election. These are only symbols of our own manifestation. And when our own manifestations come to fruition, we need to learn to trust them. Donald Trump might not be the guy you wanted there. He might be the guy you wanted there. Even if he's there, trust there's a reason. Trust if you in your heart want change, and you want it so badly, and everything you think about, everything you act about, everything your beliefs say, want freedom, want expansion, want change. Trust that this is the right process. Like I said, he could be the worst president ever. He could be ousted, someone else could step in, they could be ousted, and then you might get the greatest person in the world there. Or he could go in there, listen to people, which is a bit against his personality, most people think. He might listen, and everything might be perfect. We don't know. What we do know is we desire change. Seeing an unconventional candidate go to the White House from the people's voice, that is a change. Even if it was the wrong people's voice, in your opinion, that's a change. No matter what comes in front of us, remind yourselves that when you put fear, anger, anxiety, frustration into that energy, you're only going to start creating the version of Donald Trump, the version of America, or the version of the world that is needed for you to have anxiety about, or is needed for you to have fear about. When you create your own reality from the internal parts of yourself, from the deepest parts of your desire to change, everything happens for a reason. Be mindful of those fears. Be mindful of your thoughts. And remember, when you manifest, having one specific way to do that will always cut out all of the other possibilities. When you go to manifest a situation, when you say, I can only achieve this way, every other way you could have achieved it has now been cut out of your sight. Even if it came along, you would not be able to see it because you've already skipped over it. You didn't have your eyes open enough to see that. But when you say, this is what I want, I don't care how it comes, then you have to learn to trust the universe to deliver that to you. Even if this is not the way you thought it would come, trust yourself, trust the universe, and trust your desire for change is being met. I love you guys. Thank you so much.